The unexpected answer to prayer Bible verse. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Matthew 7:7. Hello, friends. Have you ever prayed for something and felt like God wasn't listening? I've been there. But one experience showed me that Jesus' words are true. When we ask, we receive. Let me tell you my story. A few years ago, I was looking for a new apartment. My old place was too small, and I needed something bigger. But everything I found was either too expensive or already taken. I was frustrated. I kept searching, but nothing seemed to work out. One night, as I sat in my tiny apartment feeling hopeless, I remembered Jesus' words. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. So I prayed. I told God exactly what I needed and asked for His help. The next day, I continued my search, but I still didn't find anything. A week passed. 2 weeks. I started to wonder if my prayer had been ignored. But then, out of nowhere, a friend called me. Hey, I just found out about an apartment for rent. It's in a great location, and I think it's perfect for you. I went to see the place, and it was exactly what I had been looking for. The price was right, the location was perfect, and the landlord was kind. It was as if this apartment had been waiting for me all along. At that moment, I realized something important. Sometimes when we ask God for something, the answer doesn't come immediately. But that doesn't mean He isn't listening. He answers at the right time, in the best way. Jesus' words are true. When we ask with faith, God provides. Maybe not in the way we expect, but always in the way we need. Thank you, Jesus. Strength in the storm Bible verse. With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. Hello, friends. Have you ever faced a challenge so big that it seemed impossible to overcome? I did. But through that experience, I learned the truth in Jesus' words. Nothing is impossible with God. There was a time when I was preparing for an important exam. This exam would determine my future, and I needed to pass it. But no matter how much I studied, I felt like I wasn't ready. I kept failing practice tests, and my confidence dropped. The night before the exam, I was filled with anxiety. What if I fail, I thought. What if I'm not smart enough? I couldn't sleep. Then I came across Jesus' words, with God all things are possible. I took a deep breath and prayed. Instead of focusing on my fear, I decided to trust God. I told myself, I will do my best, and God will take care of the rest. The next morning, I walked into the exam room with a different mindset. I was still nervous, but I felt a quiet strength inside me. I took the test, and to my surprise, the questions seemed easier than I expected. A few weeks later, I received my results. I passed. Not only did I pass, but I got a higher score than I had hoped for. Looking back, I realized that the real battle wasn't the exam. It was my own fear and doubt. But Jesus' words reminded me that with God, nothing is impossible. Jesus was right. Our biggest obstacles are not bigger than God. With Him, we can overcome anything. Thank you, Jesus. Finding peace in chaos. Bible verse, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. John 14:27. Hello, friends. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life? I want to share a story about a time when everything felt like it was falling apart. But Jesus' words brought me peace. A while ago, I went through one of the most stressful periods of my life. I had too many responsibilities: work, family, financial problems, and personal struggles. Every day felt like a battle, and my mind was constantly racing with worries. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't focus, and I felt completely exhausted. One night, I sat in my room, feeling like I couldn't take it anymore. Then I came across Jesus' words, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. At first I thought, how can I have peace when my life is so chaotic? But I decided to do something different. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and prayed. I asked God to take control of my worries and replace my anxiety with His peace. Something amazing happened. My problems didn't disappear overnight, but my heart felt lighter. The next day, I faced my challenges with a calmer mind. Step by step, things started to improve. I realized that Jesus wasn't saying life would always be easy. He was saying that His peace is greater than any storm. True peace doesn't come from perfect circumstances. It comes from trusting Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The power of helping others. Bible verse, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35. Hello, friends. Have you ever done something small for someone and felt unexpectedly happy? Let me tell you a story about how I learned the power of giving. One day I was walking home when I saw an elderly man struggling to carry his groceries. He looked exhausted, but no one stopped to help. Normally, I would have just walked past thinking, I have my own problems to deal with. But then I remembered Jesus' words, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Something in my heart told me to help. So I walked over and offered to carry his bags. He smiled with relief and thanked me. As we walked, he told me about his life, his struggles, and how hard things had been since his wife passed away. When we reached his home, he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, you have no idea how much this means to me. At that moment, I realized something powerful. Helping someone else didn't just make them feel good, it filled my heart with joy too. That simple act of kindness changed my entire day. Jesus was right. There is a special kind of happiness in giving. A small act of kindness can make a big difference. Thank you, Jesus. Trusting God's timing, Bible verse. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Hello, friends. Have you ever wanted something so badly but it just wasn't happening? I've been there. Let me tell you how I learned to trust God's timing. A while ago, I was hoping for a promotion at work. I had worked hard, done everything right, and I felt like I deserved it. But when the promotion was announced, it went to someone else. I was disappointed, frustrated, and even a little angry. For weeks, I kept asking, why not me? I started feeling bitter and doubting myself. Then one evening, I read this verse, be still and know that I am God. It reminded me that God's plan is always better than mine, even if I don't understand it. So I decided to let go of my frustration and trust Him. A few months later, something incredible happened. A better position opened up, one I never even considered before. This job had better pay, better opportunities, and was much more suited to my skills. If I had gotten the first promotion, I would have never had the chance for this better opportunity. That's when I realized God's timing is always perfect. Jesus' words taught me to trust, even when things don't go my way. God always has something better in store. Overcoming fear with faith. Bible verse. Do not be afraid, just believe. Mark 5:36. Hello, friends. Have you ever let fear stop you from doing something? I want to share a story about a time when fear almost held me back, but faith gave me the courage to move forward. A while ago, I was invited to speak in front of a large audience. It was a huge opportunity, but there was just one problem. I was terrified of public speaking. The thought of standing in front of all those people made me anxious. I almost said no. I told myself, what if I mess up? What if they laugh at me? Then I read Jesus' words, do not be afraid, just believe. I realized that fear was holding me back from something important. So I prayed, asking God to replace my fear with faith. On the day of the speech, I was still nervous. But instead of focusing on my fear, I focused on my faith. I reminded myself that God was with me. I stepped onto the stage, took a deep breath, and started speaking. To my surprise, my voice was steady. The words flowed naturally. By the time I finished, I felt a deep sense of peace. That day, I learned a valuable lesson. Fear tries to stop us, but faith gives us the strength to move forward. Jesus was right. Fear is just an illusion. When we believe, anything is possible. Thank you, Jesus. Forgiving when it's hard. Bible verse. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Luke 6:37. Hello, friends. Have you ever been hurt by someone and found it hard to forgive? I once struggled with this too, but Jesus' words taught me a powerful lesson about forgiveness. A few years ago, a close friend betrayed my trust. I had always been there for him, but when I needed help, he turned his back on me. I felt angry, disappointed, and heartbroken. Every time I thought about it, my heart filled with resentment. One day I read Jesus' words, forgive and you will be forgiven. At first I resisted. Why should I forgive him? He doesn't deserve it. But then I realized something. Holding on to anger was only hurting me. So I decided to let go. I prayed and asked God to help me forgive. It wasn't easy, but with time, my heart started to heal. One day I saw my friend again. Instead of bitterness, I felt peace. I smiled and greeted him. He was surprised and apologized for what he had done. At that moment, I understood something important. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what someone did. It's about freeing your own heart. Jesus was right. When we forgive, we receive peace in return. Thank you, Jesus. Story 10. The strength to keep going. Bible verse, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. Hello, friends. Have you ever felt completely exhausted, like you couldn't keep going? I had a moment like that, but Jesus' words gave me the strength to push through. A few months ago, I was going through a very difficult time. I was overwhelmed with work, personal problems, and stress. Every day felt like a battle, and I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, and mentally. One night, I sat in my room, feeling completely drained. I wanted to give up. Then I remembered Jesus' words, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." At that moment, I closed my eyes and prayed. I told God everything I was feeling, all my worries, all my struggles. I asked Him to give me strength. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. My problems were still there, but my heart felt lighter. Instead of feeling alone, I felt supported. Instead of feeling weak, I felt a quiet strength inside me. Day by day, things started to improve. I handled my problems with a new sense of peace. I learned that when we bring our burdens to Jesus, He doesn't always remove them, but He gives us the strength to carry them. Jesus' words gave me hope and strength when I needed it most. Thank you, Jesus.